Hey, what's going on everyone? So today we're going to be going over Gojo's awakening moment, or better put, break down his true enlightenment, considering that's what the name Gojo means in kanji. Assuming you've seen the fantastic episode already, you'll notice that Gojo said, "Throughout heaven and earth, I alone am the honored one." And when I first came across this moment in the manga, I was very interested in what Gojo meant by that. Not just the line itself, of course, but everything he was going through. You know, the power-up he got, the emotions he was feeling, the godlike depiction of floating majestically in the air. Just what did this entire scene mean for Gojo's character? Well, before we begin, we have to first understand what the term enlightenment means, because in Buddhism, attaining enlightenment is the ultimate goal of one's spiritual journey, though there are various steps to achieving that goal, one of them being the state of obtaining profound understanding. Quote, "As one progresses along the Buddhist path, obtaining profound understanding deepens and leads to the ultimate goal of enlightenment." Now, tying that into Jujutsu Kaisen, we know that when one obtains a deep understanding of cursed energy, that user typically gets a power-up, right? They get stronger. But in most cases, a character must come close to death in order to truly understand the core of cursed energy. There's a couple of examples we can talk about in the manga. However, this is going to be a spoiler-free video, so we're only going to bring up the two examples that was shown in the anime already. The first showcasing is from Mahito. When getting a total beatdown by Yuji and Nanami, Mahito felt the sensation of death for the very first time as a cursed spirit, and that feeling pushed his boundaries to perform and perfect a domain expansion. The second example is obviously from Gojo in season 2. He, quote unquote, died or almost died when he fought Toji for the first time, but at that moment, when Gojo was on the verge of death, he could finally grasp and understand the core of cursed energy, which led him to utilize reverse curse technique and save himself from death via being enlightened. So as you can see, Jujutsu Kaisen takes some inspiration and philosophies from Buddhism. In fact, the entire fight itself, Gojo versus Toji, is almost like a direct reference to Buddha versus the Monkey King. I won't embark too much on this since the main topic of this video is explaining Gojo's awakening, but for the curious viewers, Gojo represents the Buddha himself, since he's someone who attains personal enlightenment. The quote he says that states himself as the honored one is actually what Buddha first said when he once emerged from his mother's womb. In many depictions, Buddha says this quote with one hand pointing at the sky and the other hand pointing at the ground, exactly the same way Gojo's posing when saying this line. All that being said, however, I gotta emphasize that Gojo is just metaphorically symbolizing the Buddha here, because in a weekly author's comment, Ekutami, the author of Jujutsu Kaisen, confirmed that Gojo quoted Buddha's line in an arrogant way. And, you know, arrogance doesn't necessarily translate to being egotistical. Gojo's not bragging to Toji by saying this, and it's definitely not a god complex thing. Rather, this phrase is just to signify that Gojo has transcended into a higher state via tapping into the core of cursed energy and metaphorically achieving enlightenment like the Buddha did. But as a result of attaining enlightenment, the Buddha became one with everything. Another correlation to Gojo, since his 6 eyes sees everything. There's even a correlation with his domain expansion, right? The sure hit effect is a vast void of infinite knowledge and infinite understanding. So when enemies get caught in it, Gojo is essentially forcing that enlightenment on others, but of course, they're not able to process it because, figuratively, the enemies themselves aren't enlightened like Gojo. Notice the exact words Jogo says when getting hit by infinite void. "I can see everything, feel everything." Yeah, that's enlightenment, buddy. As for Toji representing Sun Wukong, otherwise known as the Monkey King, well, it's pretty simple. Toji straight up refers to himself as a monkey who can't even use Jujutsu. So if Geto refers to all humans who aren't sorcerers as monkeys, and this is not a spoiler since it was shown in the Volume 0 movie, then yeah, that makes Toji symbolically the king of monkeys, since he is the strongest person without cursed energy. Also, in the beginning of the Chinese novel Journey to the West, Sun Wukong's mission was to disrupt the Heavenly Order. The Heavenly Order is just a system of rules that govern activities of the deities, celestial beings, etc., all in heaven, right? So that's kind of the same way how Toji disrupted Jujutsu society, you know, breaking the order of destiny, shattering the chains of fate. Toji disrupted the story's future because he killed the Star Plasma Vessel, the vessel that was supposed to merge with Tengen, the one who maintains the barriers and foundation of Jujutsu. Jujutsu. But going back to Gojo's awakening, the last connection that this moment shares with Buddhism is achieving mental freedom, letting go of unhealthy attachments to the past, being free of the clinging, the craving, having no regrets. Through these transformative processes, one achieves inner freedom, a central state of attaining enlightenment. I'm not going to spoil for the anime watchers, but if you're a manga reader, you'll know that a certain character also had to overcome a mental barrier in order to achieve freedom. As for Gojo, he says, quote, "Sorry, Amanai. Right now, I'm not angry for you, nor do I feel vengeful toward anyone. Right now, it's just everything feels right." End quote. So the first time I came across this in the manga, I remember reading that line 10 times in my head because at first I thought Gojo was apologizing for not being able to save Riko, but it's actually the opposite in that Gojo is sorry that he doesn't feel anything at all for her. You know, usually you would expect a character to be mad or be out for revenge when put in Gojo's situation, but Gojo just doesn't feel vengeful for Riko dying, and you might think, well, that's kind of selfish, right? And yeah, it kind of is. In fact, the story has always been praising that sorcerers need a certain level of selfishness in order to fight strongly in battle. Example, Gojo taught this notion to Megumi at the end of season 1, but to emphasize, it's not selfish in the sense that Gojo or Megumi is a bad person, because in this specific moment here, Gojo disperses any emotions for Amane's death in order to reach this state of mental clarity, allowing him to truly fight Toji with no emotional distraction. I mean, remember their first encounter? It was Gojo thinking about Amane's safety that led to his defeat, since for a split second, that put Gojo's guard down, permitting Toji to brutally stab Gojo. Obviously, I know power scaling wise, awakened Gojo beats Toji nonetheless, but you can even look at it that narratively, Toji lost round 2 of the battle because unlike round 1, he started feeling uneasy. Feelings of the Zenin clan, wanting to crush the pinnacle of Jujutsu with his zero cursed energy for self-affirmation. It's almost like Gojo and Toji, in terms of their mindset at least, did a complete switch from round 1 and round 2. And this sense of overthinking led to Toji's defeat. There are other great examples in the story that I can use, but again, it's content from the manga, so I'll just say that awakened Gojo definitely established the very future of fights and the mentality that characters should come in with when going into a battle. As for the result, after grasping the true nature of cursed energy, Gojo learned to use reverse curse technique. By taking 2 sources of cursed energy and multiplying them, the energy that destroys becomes energy that creates. Thus, negative energy becomes positive. And while positive energy can be used for various purposes, for the most part, it's used for healing. So this is how Gojo was alive after supposedly dying in the first fight against Toji, because he healed with reverse curse technique. Although, unlike majority of the cast, Gojo is so skilled that he can also flow the positive energy into his limitless technique, producing an attack opposite to his blue. That attack is Reversal Red, an explosive, repelling attack that blows everything away, opposite to blue's attracting effect. And by being able to manipulate this reverse cursed energy, Gojo has achieved the true potential of the limitless by being capable of doing 2 new things. One, he can fuse both blue and red together, creating an ultimate attack called Hollow Purple that erases everything in its path down to an atomic level. He used this in season 1 at the end of the Goodwill event, and the speed of Hollow Purple is so fast that even someone with superhuman speed like Toji couldn't dodge Hollow Purple's blast. The last thing is that Gojo can now use both his 6 eyes and his limitless technique in conjunction for 24/7 without ever getting tired. This is because he applies reverse curse technique to constantly heal the strains of using those 2 abilities simultaneously, and the reverse curse technique never really runs out because the 6 eyes is what allows Gojo to manipulate his energy levels to an infinitesimal degree. And again, the 6 eyes can never wear out because he's using reverse curse technique. So yeah, he's kind of created like an overpowered loophole for himself, whereas now what he's been doing manually, stopping what can go through his infinity and what can't, that's now been put automatically. Of course, unless Gojo allows for it to permeate through the barrier. But that's the dissection of Gojo's power-up and him reaching enlightenment. If you enjoyed the video, then please do be sure to leave a like. As with all that being said, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.